Hello, I think we're live. Everybody, today we have a few new things we want to cover and some news about the channel and this Sunday Live, as well as we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff going on around the cruise world. So join us today, and we're going to have a fun Sunday for Father's Day.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cruising Canucks. I'm Jill and Jerry here with you. And today is a special day. It's Father's Day. So for all those dads out there, happy Father's Day. Thanks for joining. Or if you're watching us on replay, hope you had a great Father's Day.
Yeah, if you're watching us on replay, if you don't catch us live, then you always find us on Monday on Spotify. Where else do you find us? Apple Music, Apple Podcast, and YouTube's podcast as well. So if you can't make us on Sunday, like a day like today, be forgivable. Maybe you're out spoiling dad today.
That's right.
So I was spoiled a little bit earlier in the weekend. So that way, everyone else, work schedules, everything else, Friday was Father's Day for me.
It was.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So today's just an excuse to relax and watch golf this afternoon.
Ooh, looking forward to that, aren't you?
I can't wait to see who's going to win the U.S. Open today. So today we have a bunch of different things we want to do.
We do.
And hopefully you'll become engaged as well as far as asking some questions and making some comments about some of the things we're going to bring up about the cruise industry, I guess I'd say.
Okay.
But yeah, we're kind of changing things up a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more of that in a second. But yeah, we just wanted to say hi and wanted to cheers all those fathers out there. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
Happy Father's Day.
Cheersing with water again.
I know.
You know what those Irish fathers would say about that.
Sorry, guys.
We don't even have a drink package on the next cruise that's coming up with Cunard. So
yeah.
Or sorry, Cunard for those tuning in from across the pond. Cunard for those that are in the Canadian Maritimes.
Yeah, that's right.
Just so we make everybody happy.
We'll never get anybody happy because it seems to be a pretty divided, controversial way on how to say it. So yeah, I say it one way and I'm told it's wrong, and then I say it the other way and someone else tells me it's wrong.
That would not be new for us with how we pronounce just about everything.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. It's the story of our lives.
You're lucky we get our names right.
Yeah, it's true. We fumble on that sometimes. Good thing they both start with a J.
So, updates on Cruising Canucks content. So, as you saw this week, we had day 1 and day 2 came out. So, we left Montreal day 1, had a great embarkation day. In fact, I'm not sure how kind of stats you're up on for the Cruising Canucks, but just as an interesting note, that was the longest vlog that we have ever published on YouTube.
It is.
Came in at almost 44 minutes long, and I cut out at least half an hour's worth. So
we had a great day.
Yeah. Now our lives are obviously longer, these things here, but as far as our logs are filmed content,
vlogs, yeah, that
was the longest one we've done. And then day 2 was pretty close. It came in, I think, at 41 or 42 minutes because we had an equally good day. In fact, as we said in the thumbnail, it was one of the best days we've ever had on a cruise ship. As far as the port was amazing, the formal night was wonderful, the ship was fantastic. It was the music with the band was absolutely amazing, right?
Breath and Thunder, guys, check them out. Breath and Thunder.
So it all came together at Quebec City Day. So and I think that came through from what we saw from the comments that people really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
And then this week we have day 3 for us on that cruise was a sea day. So you're going to see the sea day. We actually go out. We deliberately try to find crowds because we were like, there's no people on this boat. We have to find out where people are. So we scoured the whole ship for people. We found a few people. So that's good. We can show you where they are. And then day 4 that's coming up by next weekend, we are in Sydney. No, we're not. I'm making that up.
That's wrong. We weren't.
in Charlottetown.
Charlottetown.
All things...
Home of Anna Green Gables.
Yes.
Just saying, that was a fabulous day for me.
Yep. Yeah, and if you go on a Disney cruise and it's all about Disney all day long, that's what this one's going to be like. In Charlottetown, it's all about Anne Green Gables all day long.
It was. But I only did it for one day. I didn't torture you guys with 7 days of it like I would if I was on a Disney cruise, right? So Mr. Canuck was a pretty good sport about the day. And actually said he had a great time. So
it was fun, actually. The musical we saw that day was fantastic. That's one thing, we can talk about it now, but it's all the copyright with the musical and stuff. We couldn't show you any of the musical that you're going to hear about us going to on day 4, which is a shame because it was phenomenal.
It really was. Very talented performers for sure. If
you're on an East Coast Canada cruise itinerary, you're in Charlottetown, I would advise you to check it out. The cruise ships offer packages as well. They have blocks of seats available. We booked it on our own. We were able to get front row center. So it was
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
quite easy to book it on your own. Just Google the Anne and Gilbert musical in Charlottetown, and it'll bring you to the website, and you can book your own tickets.
Yeah,
and they actually mail them to your house for you.
And you could probably about a 15-minute, 20-minute walk maximum. You could walk from the cruise port to there, so you don't need any way to get there. You can just walk there and enjoy the show and walk around town.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I am going to, what's next for us here? Oh, so our updates on this live and the podcast that gets created from this. And we are making a couple changes, hopefully for the good. But we are trying to, okay, let's just explain it first, right?
Okay.
You don't know what I'm going to say, do you?
I have no idea what he's going to say, guys. So I hope he explains it better to you than he did to me a few days ago. And I just went,
She just shows up here. I give her 30 minutes notice. There's a camera going on, and she shows up. Yeah, and she always looks like this, so she never has to get ready.
He's so funny.
But yeah, I think what we're going to do is each month we are going to do the first week, and the third week is going to be kind of like what you're going to see today. We're going to talk about stuff going on in the cruise business and just kind of have a conversation with you back and forth. What do you think about this information, this news? Because the industry seems to be changing so much that it's kind of a nice conversation to kind of get caught up on what's new and current, because things, change all the time. And then on the second and fourth Sunday of every month, or our lives, we are going to do something content specific like we've been doing, whether that's men's fashion that almost made it this week.
More about that to come, guys.
But yeah, so where we pick something specific, whether it's what to do in a certain port, or whether it's insurance or flying or all that stuff we've done.
Or what? Flying? I thought you were trying to hide from authorities there or something. Fleeing. You were fleeing. Anyways, sorry.
You're cut off.
You're the one that had the drink. I miss having water. That's why you're slurring your words already. One drink.
Oh, and if you'll let me finish my words.
Sorry.
Then on the fifth Sunday of every month, now there's not 5 Sundays every month, but there is once every few months, then we're going to do trivia. So, and the next one, the end of June actually coming up, there's a 5th Sunday. So we'll be doing trivia on the last day of this month and on Sunday. And like last year, it almost was the exact same time. We did a Canada themed trivia. We did, and everybody had a good time. So we're going to do it all over again. Every time we get an extra Sunday in a month, we're going to do some trivia, cruise trivia, maybe trivia about maybe next time be Europe ports. Who knows?
There you go. You got all your words out.
Now you're up to speed.
Now he'll quiz you later on and see if you got all that, because I sure didn't. But anyways.
So that's the update. So yeah, there's still gonna be lots of content, and in the middle of those, content specific ones, then definitely give us some suggestions. Everything is on the table. We'll talk about it except men's fashion. So
what Mr. Canuck is referring to is last week, if you joined us on the live or watched it in replay, you may remember that Jerry said, if you have any suggestions or ideas of what you would like us to talk about on our live, please feel free to share them with us. So on our Facebook group, someone mentioned that since today is Father's Day, perhaps we could do a theme all about men and cruising and talk about men's fashion for cruising, ports that men like to go to. They had a whole list of like how to help a man prepare for
do your hair,
what to pack for a man on a cruise, all these sort of things. Mr. Canuck read that suggestion, and what was your response?
I was like, the only way I know how to get on a cruise and survive and wear the right clothing and look the proper way is that Mrs. Canuck tells me what I should be doing. So I said that she's going to have to host that episode, and I'll spend the day watching golf.
So yeah, he told me if that was the theme of the show, he would just stay upstairs and watch golf in the TV and let me run that show. Because you don't really do too much of that when it comes to the planning of a cruise, right?
Yeah, the odd time that I look good on camera, it's usually someone else to thank.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't get to wear my my pajama bottoms around on the cruise ship, unfortunately. So
no, he doesn't.
I'm not allowed.
No, he doesn't.
So there you go. What can you do? If it was up to me, who knows? It could be socks and sandals.
Oh God, no. Nope. All right.
So that's the plan for the lives. Just, a little bit of structure to it. So that way we're not, a lot of times on Saturday, we're like, what do you want to do the live about? We kick around some things and everything else. This way we'll kind of have a better idea what's coming up. Ideally, although we don't know what we're doing next weekend yet. So it sounds like a good plan. Just hasn't kicked in yet. We'll be talking about something. And the next piece we want to talk about, a little bit of Cruising Canucks stuff.
Okay.
Statistics, one of my favorite things in the world.
Mm.
So in the next 48 hours, it looks like we are going to hit 2 million views on the channel, which is pretty nice for the last couple of years. We're pretty excited about all that support, and it still blows us away because we can't picture what 2 million people look like watching our videos.
Well, it's not 2 million people, but it's some people that are very, very loyal, and we thank you all for your support that has brought us to this growth at this point.
Maybe it's the 100 people that are online right now have all watched it 2,000 times our videos.
Yeah, right. Some have watched it 2 or 3 times trying to find that sneaky little letter that you would like to hide.
Yeah. So, but not only that, in another few weeks, we suspect it looks like we're going to hit 10,000 subscribers, which is kind of one of those YouTube milestones, and YouTube will send you a letter and tell you how far up your channel is gotten in the world of YouTube.
Here, I'll do my little promotion right now. If you haven't subscribed yet, please help us get to that 10,000 mark.
We're trying.
We're trying.
And then after that, who knows? We'll be at 1 million before you know it.
Yeah, right.
What are the positive comments we often get from people that are new to our channel? It's like, found your channel, absolutely love it. I do not understand why you don't have 100,000 subscribers. We get that comment all the time. And I don't know, I guess we're just so bashful that we don't toot our own horn very much. We're just like putting videos out and having a good time. And I guess, we need a PR team. So we love that comment. But yeah, we're just growing at the rate that we want to grow. And it's just a natural thing where people are finding us and enjoying the content, which is kind of what we want to do.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, we don't care. When we started this thing, we thought we didn't care if we had 10 subscribers or we had 10,000, and we're at that 10,000 almost.
Almost.
And it kind of still feels the same.
We really thought we would only have 10. We thought for sure that his parents would watch, my mom would watch, maybe a friend or two. We knew going into it that our children probably would be mortified and wouldn't watch.
Yep. I guess the only difference between 10 subscribers and 10,000 is that now, because of that 10,000 number, we have met so many people we would have ever met that have become lifelong friends in the cruise community with us.
The community that you guys have allowed us to grow has just been the biggest blessing for sure. And everybody that joined us on our first group cruise, I think, felt that way, or the majority of them did anyways, and have made lifelong friends. And that's how we feel. We feel that every time we get on a cruise ship now with people. It's just it's phenomenal for sure.
And just I wanted to add in another comment there too, that with all those views has come 8,000 comments.
8,000.
And just let you know, one thing that we've always committed to, and we still do this, even though other vloggers think we're insane, is we answer every single comment. Have you ever noticed, if you make a comment on our YouTube channel, we're going to say something back to you. So
sometimes it might just be a laughy face because I am literally laughing at your comments.
A lot of times we're providing answers if you have questions or some context, or even if you we get the odd negative one, we try to give it a positive spin, saying, it's the best we got for you.
Yeah.
So and you break that down per day. For example, so far this month, we're halfway through June.
Yes.
I noticed that we've had over 350 comments in the first couple of weeks of this month. And Mrs. Canuck has been answering all those comments. Just imagine if you divide that by the number of days that she's, dozens of comments every day she's answering. So.
Mm-hmm. Which is lovely. I love it. Please keep your comments going. The more comments you have, the better it is for us. That helps the YouTube channel grow and all of that. The algorithm, they all like those comments.
Yeah, it's good for YouTube and it's good for us because it keeps Mrs. Canuck out of trouble. She's got to keep answering comments.
Yeah, the more comments I have to answer, the less time I have to go shopping. So Mr. Canuck would like you to just flood the page with comments.
Yeah. So I guess the takeaway on that is just want to say thank you, because without all your support, none of this would have happened. So it still astounds us. We still feel like the same people talking to the same camera. But seems to be a lot more people on the other side of the camera looking back. Good thing there's not 1 million people in our basement watching us, because we would just try to sit here and not say anything. I would.
Yeah. And people, again, going back to the group cruise, if you've met us on the group cruise, Jerry tends to be a little more shy in person than I am. I'm more outgoing in person, and I'm maybe a little bit more shy in the camera. At least I was at the beginning. I'm not so much anymore. Whereas you were always more outgoing in the camera and a little bit more shy in person. So I guess it works that we have each other's different personalities to feed off of. Mm-hmm.
There you go. If everybody looked like a camera, I'd be okay.
Yes. Yeah, he can talk away to an inanimate object, no problem. It's when there's 50 people staring at him that he kind of freezes.
Well, the camera never talks back, but people say stuff.
Oh, I see. Is that what it is? It's the fear of the unknown, what someone might say to you. Makes you nervous.
I just get like a scared gazelle in the African savannah. No, so thank you.
Yes.
And picture of the week. We have a picture somewhere if I can find it. I haven't shown you the picture this week.
I haven't seen the picture of this week.
And the picture of the week looks like this. There it is.
Wow.
So Sue took that.
And that, oh, okay.
She's on our Discord, one of our patrons, and she was doing a West Coast Canada, Alaska type of trip.
Yes.
And that's one of the pictures she's taken. So just beautiful
From
out there.
her Alaskan cruise. Oh, it's a gorgeous picture.
Yeah.
For sure.
I believe if my memory's working, she was on the Ruby Princess, I think.
She was on the Ruby Princess, yes.
So, there you go. Thank you, Sue. Beautiful picture, and we're going to be there later this summer. So we always say that we find a lot of comparisons between the Eastern Canada cruises and the Alaskan cruises, and we see some better value in Eastern Canada.
Yeah, it's not quite as expensive as Alaska.
There isn't mountains like that, though. We have to give that caveat. You're not going to see that in Eastern Canada, what you see in the picture on the screen there.
And I often wonder too, like when we went to Alaska last year, we went in August, and so it was warm. It was quite warm. Like I was able to wear sundresses when we were in port. It was that warm. I'm wondering if we did a cruise to Alaska this, like in May and June, you'd see more of what you think is traditional Alaska with all that snow on the mountains and all of that. Like by the time we saw the glacier, there was some mud running through it, and so it wasn't as beautiful as probably what it would be in the spring, is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're falling behind, so we are likely going to run late. So if someone let Bryson know not to tee off until we're done here today. Okay, just hang on at the U.S. Open. We're going to be done soon. Trivia today.
Oh gosh, here we go.
We got true or false trivia. I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
And we'll have to scroll down to the bottom of the comments and see you're already down there.
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm at the bottom.
We'll see if anybody gets these trivia questions. So the first question is true or false? Quebec City is the second largest French-speaking city in the world. Curious to see if anybody thinks that's true. Or
Quebec is the largest in the world?
Second largest.
I know that's false.
Is it the second largest French-speaking city in the world? You false is your answer?
I'm false.
You're false on that one?
Yeah. Now you're going
to wait and see.
So now the answer probably is true. It's usually the opposite of what I think, guys.
I'm watching.
Anybody else?
I don't see any comments yet. False, true, false, false.
Well, we got a few. Like I'm just thinking of France and Paris. Obviously, would probably be the biggest, but they've got to have. Maybe they don't have a larger city. I'm trying to think. We
got see actually a pretty good healthy mix of falses and trues on there.
Okay.
And
okay.
So
all right.
So here's the interesting thing. I'm going based on what like Wikipedia tells me. So if I'm wrong, it's because Wikipedia is wrong.
You trust Wikipedia.
I came up with true.
You came up with true?
That number 1, you had it right, was Paris is the largest French speaking, but Quebec was number 2.
And what is the population of Quebec now? I want to know.
I'm not sure. I'm seeing that Marseille as a comment is a large
city in France.
So we may have to do some Googling after this to see, but the sources I had, it said that Quebec was the second largest.
True. Yeah. We have a lot of true answers here. A lot of people had it correct.
So there you go.
Terry said true.
The next one won't be, the next one isn't so subjective. So we'll see whether or not anybody gets this one.
Kate.
This was a fascinating when we were at the Chateau Frontenac. I saw a little bit, there was a plaque that talked a little bit about this, about some history. So that's why this question came up. True or false? Let's put the question up. Okay, Winston Churchill, President Roosevelt, Mackenzie King, the Prime Minister of Canada, and Joseph Stalin from Russia all met in the Chateau Frontenac to discuss the invasion of Normandy and plan the invasion.
To plan the invasion of
Normandy during World War II in 1943, I believe. There was a meeting in Quebec City.
Stalin, Churchill.
So is this statement true or false?
I feel like you're throwing a wrong name in there just to mess me up. That's what I'm thinking. Definitely Churchill, right? Am I right?
So you're saying definitely Churchill?
I do not enjoy this game. I need the phone a friend option here. I'll go with true. Let's see what everybody else thinks. Let me scroll to the bottom of my screen here. Oh, Patrick and Marietta are saying true, I believe.
True, false, true, false. Again, we got a mix of both. And
True for Christina.
True. I won't let it go too long because I know we got still a lot of content to cover. But
False.
False.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is false. But what's false about the statement?
Well, I think you probably screwed up a name in there. You gave me a wrong name. It's
Right.
not King.
No, King's right.
King's right. Churchill's right.
Stalin did not come to the meeting.
Oh, Stalin.
Stalin didn't come to the meeting. However, he was invited to be at the meeting, but he did not opt to come to Quebec and go to that meeting for the plan. So Stalin is why it's not right. And I'm seeing that. I'm got preoccupied there. I see Montreal. I'm not sure Montreal is considered a truly French-speaking city because Montreal is very bilingual.
Very bilingual
That's
and
probably why.
multicultural. So I don't think it's considered truly French.
Whereas Quebec is truly, French is the first language there.
Yeah.
But an interesting note, though, is that of that meeting of those three leaders planning the Normandy invasion, that it ended up that the Canadian Prime Minister, even though he was hosting it at the Chateau Frontenac, and also the Citadel nearby had some of the meetings, that he was told that he wasn't welcome in the detailed planning, and just President Roosevelt and Churchill ended up meeting and do the final planning, that the Canadian Prime Minister wasn't involved. Isn't that weird? Yeah, so strange. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, even though Canada played a large part in the Normandy invasion, they weren't allowed to be part of the planning of it. So there you go. Even though they hosted it. So maybe Stalin should have came. King could have hung out with Stalin and had a conversation. So
Joseph is saying, I've been in that room, part of a hotel tour.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, we wish we would have did that. There's lots of other tours there. And I kind of look back thinking, if I go there again, I think I'll do some of those tours. Yeah, that'd be a good one to do.
Kelly's saying Stalin threw me off totally. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the trivia. And a couple of comments and questions of the week. Like I said, we want to get to some of the stuff we want to talk about. We're almost up to the hour already. And the first comment that came in this week, not the first one, but one of the ones that I grabbed from this week, very common comment that we saw, you two are our favorite cruise vloggers, keep up the great work. And I just threw that in there to say, this is the stuff we wake up to every day, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
It's the encouragement that keeps us doing this sometimes uncomfortable thing.
like this past week, my vlog editing was done almost completely on the Wednesday night. By the Thursday morning, I thought I got a bit of time. I'll install the new version of the software, and then I'll get the edit done and publish to YouTube, And then the new software did not work. And not only did it not work, it messed up the entire edit for the entire vlog.
You would have maybe liked it. What it did was it took away my voice for the whole vlog. So it was just Mr. Canuck talking, and then the camera would go to me and you'd see me doing this.
And I did not do it on purpose.
I'm sure he did. It was a little Father's Day present he gave to himself. He muted me right out of the whole vlog.
And I couldn't get her voice back. She wouldn't talk. So yeah, the new software wasn't working. And then I tried to reinstall the old software thinking, okay, I'll just go back and use the old software. But I found out that the new software messed up the files. So I couldn't go back to the old software. So I had to use a new one to figure out why it was broken. And I had about 48 hours of chaos with my editing this week that I lost 2 days worth of editing trying to fix the problem, and finally got the video out on Friday. He
always complains to me that I don't talk loud enough when he turns the camera on, that I tend to whisper at times, which I don't think I do. I'm a loud talker, but there has been a few times where I've seen that I've been a little bit quieter than what he would like for the sounding part of it. But I thought, well, this time it took the cake because I was totally muted. So
got rid of her.
Rid of it.
The new software does have AI built in, so maybe it just made a judgment call.
Yeah.
This person doesn't need to talk.
Yeah, we don't need to hear any more of her. She doesn't know what she's talking about anyways.
That was my week. Yes. So yeah, when you get those positive comments, my point was, it makes me keep on going, even though I'm having a rough week at it. So, and loved the Cape Breton music was a comment from Susan, especially the snippets of the Bear McNeils. The Rankin family was a favorite part as well. Refreshing change from Sweet Carolina. Hallelujah, it was.
So true. Yeah, for sure. It was, it's the type of music that I've loved for years, and Mr. Canuck and I enjoy, and we've gone to concerts playing Canadian, East Coast music, that sort of thing. So for us, it was wonderful. I didn't know, It's very popular though, for sure, with everybody on the show. I
do have to say that one of the things I've always liked about the MSC cruises when we get on them is the diversity of the music. I really feel that a lot of North American-based cruise lines.
Did you say MSC cruises?
Yes. Yeah, MSC. Okay. A lot of North American-based cruise lines, all the big ones, that they all seem to share the same playlist and say the same songs over and over. Every cruise, doesn't matter where you're going, anywhere. Yeah. You could be even in Europe on a North American cruise line, and they're going to play the same songs you heard in the Caribbean. very frustrating that there's so much more out there in the world of music. And so it was so refreshing to get on the Volendam and see that not be the case. And all the bands around the ship were playing different type of music that we weren't used to hearing. So yeah, it was very refreshing. So a little diversity doesn't hurt. So
It's true.
And the last comment that I grabbed was, did you find a language barrier when traveling to Montreal and Quebec?
No, we didn't, but we were very much in the touristy areas and everybody was bilingual. So, I mean, we've traveled, you know, just like road trips and whatever throughout our lives going through Quebec. And there are definitely pockets of Quebec where they do only speak French. And so you might have a language barrier, but we did not have that experience anywhere where we were. Montreal is, like Jerry said earlier, very, very multicultural. So, you know, you're going to hear people speaking multiple languages, but everywhere we went, we had people speaking English to us.
Yeah, no, we didn't find any language barriers at all. And I know even Canadians have that fear that people that haven't traveled to Quebec before, like, oh, I'm not sure I don't know how to speak French very well. And what we like, the same thing we found in Europe is that a lot of different countries that speak different languages, a lot of them also speak English. So, we've always feel a little bit sad about thinking, man, why can't we get our act together and we need to be able to speak a few more languages that the rest of the world shouldn't have to bow down to our language. Yeah,
I really wish I had another language in my backpack of skills, because definitely some people can speak multiple languages and
So we barely get the words out properly of what language we speak.
You hear us struggle every week with English, guys. So
okay, let's talk about what's going on in the world of cruising.
All right.
I know we're an hour in.
Okay.
But we'll hit a couple of the high ones we wanted to hit here. So if you want to stay on and chit chat and give us some feedback about this stuff,
okay,
you can. If you've had enough of us, want to watch the golf, we understand.
But please hit the like button before you leave.
And subscribe before you leave.
Yes, all of that helps.
Oh, and if you're on the podcast, you probably didn't hear a whole lot of that discussion anyways, because we usually trim that out for the podcast because it's kind of less interactive in the podcast.
That's true.
So they're just turning in those people right now. So, and the first one is 2 new cruise ships. There's actually a few that are kind of all rolling around the same time, but the 2 big ones that caught my attention was Utopia of the Seas was handed off officially to the cruise line. Their cruises haven't started yet, but that was the next big monster ship from Royal coming out.
How many people does it hold?
It holds, they actually built a small one this time.
Oh, okay.
Because I believe that Wonder of the Seas is up well over 7,000 people. This one holds like 6,600, 6,700 people. So this is like a tiny one, this one.
A few hundred less, 400 less. Wow.
Yep. So there you go. That's their new one that's coming out. And then there's also the TUI's new ship. And TUI is the same line that did Marella Cruises. They also do river cruises. But they have a line that caters more to the German audience in Europe. And that is Mein Schiff, if I'm saying that right. They have a new ship coming out, which was the Mein Schiff 7. They're not very imaginative with the names of their ships. They're just numbered.
They just number them? That might be good for me to remember.
The last one that came out was 6. This one's 7.
Okay.
And they don't retire at 6 before they bring out 7. They're all out at the same time.
Oh, so they have 7 cruise ships right now sailing?
They could. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that.
Oh,
but they have more than just one. Anyways, it is just under 3,000. So it is literally half the size of the Royal Caribbean one. So it's nice to see there's new ships coming out that are a little bit smaller, that aren't just the luxury ones. So, but it's interesting the contrast of the two. That the TUI one looked a little bit like a Pinnacle class to me, is what it looked like when I looked at the outside of it. Very similar to the Queen Anne, very similar to All America's Rotterdam.
Right,
had that line to it. But yeah, I guess the discussion point for us when we heard this news that the Royal Caribbean was rolling out with another one is like, where are they going to put these huge ships, like these ports that are already having 4 or 5 ships in there? It's one thing to put in like ones that have 2,000 or 3,000 people in them. Each one having 6,000 people on it. That's like 30,000 people in these ports.
So that's part of the biggest issue, right? There's some communities that don't want to have that many people come. So you get it. You understand. It's one thing when, there used to be 4 or 5 cruise ships to a port, but every cruise ship only held 1,500 people to 2,000 people. But if they all are the size of the Royal Caribbean newer ones, then wow, that's a lot of people at one day in one location.
Yeah, for sure. So it's interesting to see these ships rolling out. The big ones keep coming out. No sign. I love to see a cruise line come out like Holland America and say, okay, the next one's going to be the size of the Volendam. But I'm not sure we're going to see that day.
We hope, guys. We really do. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll see. But those were the new ones that are coming out. We're going to hear more about it. And interesting note that Royal Caribbean continues to kind of up each ship as being the next biggest in the world. That is not the case. And this one is not as big as Wonder and no Wonder. It might be a little bit bigger Wonder, but not Icon. Okay. I think it's right in the middle of those two. So, yep. And the other thing that came out and it kind of ties into this topic actually is I heard that there is some more rumors about port restrictions for ships, as in people are just getting fed up with how many ships and people are coming into the ports. Juneau tried to. There was a small group in Juneau that tried to get it on the next vote to be able to ban cruise ships for certain days or certain numbers. It actually didn't go through, so Juneau isn't banning, but there was a group of people trying to do that. But Greece is also in the middle of going through that as well.
I understand though why Juneau is doing that, because it just seems like more and more cruise ships are doing Alaska. Like it used to be every cruise line had one ship there. Now they've got multiple ships, right? Most cruise lines have your option of 2 or 3 different cruise ships to do Alaska. So they've got to have a lot of ships going into a relatively small town.
Tiny towns, yeah. Yeah. It's just imagine that to Ketchikan and some of those cruises that they're coming in with
5 or 6 cruise ships a day
that hold thousands each, and those towns don't have that many people, I'm sure.
Right.
So so it's a little bit, and then so Greece is doing the same thing. That Greece is now talking about putting restrictions because Greece in the Mediterranean in the summer has the same problem that their ports are just overloaded.
Wow.
And you know what? I kind of feel that the cruise industry created their own problem
by making the ships bigger.
Yeah, like if the idea is that we're going to make every cruise ship from now on 5,000-6,000 people, then all these ports are going to say, sorry, you're not for us. So they're only hurting themselves. The only place they're ever going to go is their own private islands. That's the only place that's going to take them without people pushing them away.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's kind of, I
mean, there's something to be said, we've all talked about now lately is that if you want to go to some sort of unique spots, you go on a smaller cruise ship because they're able to dock at places that the average cruise ship now can't do. And that was true to us, even with this last Fallen Dam. We were able to embark right in downtown Montreal. Yep. And also port in downtown Quebec City. But we heard that like some of the other cruise lines that are traveling throughout there this summer, they dock further out of town and you have to take a shuttle service into the Quebec City. So yeah, there's something to be said, the advantages of being on the smaller ships, right? They can get places that these large ships can't get to.
So the cruise industry's got to start making some decisions. Either there's going to be a restriction on the number of ships that come in, so you're not going to, which is a frustrating thing because then how do you book itineraries when you can't get in? More sea days, more private islands, I guess.
Well, and what we found too, like Bar Harbor, for instance, is a community that has a restriction, and they didn't put a restriction on how many ships. Their restriction was how many passengers were allowed to come into a port a day. They have a limit of 1,000 people a day that they're going to let into that community. So that's obviously just one very small cruise ship that can do that.
Yeah, so it would be an interesting thing to see how the cruise lines tackle this as they move towards thinking they're going to get bigger ships that are more efficient with the LNG powered ships and that type of thing. It seems to be that those ships are bigger than the old type of ships.
Right.
But how are they going to get people to ports when the ports don't want that many people? Like the idea, we want to get into the ports if we're cruising.
I was just going to say, well, maybe the experience changes in that you're going on the cruise to experience the cruise and you're not really caring about going to the ports because they've got so much. Like I think of like the Wonder of the Seas and all that. They have so many attractions and like amusement parks and themed activities on board that maybe people just get on that cruise just to experience what that cruise offers. Or that ship offers, I should say, as opposed to wanting to explore different parts of the world.
And maybe to my point, like Utopia of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's already announced that it will be doing 3 and 4 day sailings out of Florida to their private island, to the Bahamas.
But that's it? That's all they're going?
That's all they've got. That they said that was the main push for the ship. So that you're building that huge a ship just to do that run back and forth really caught my attention too.
So then that sort of goes back to my point. They're using their ship as the attraction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, more so than the ports. And which is fine and dandy because we live in this really nice space right now in the cruise world where we do have these smaller, older ships that can get in and out of these ports and these monster mega ships that maybe that's not the idea of what they're for. What do we do in 20 years from now? Are we going to see the Oasis of the Seas being the smallest ship available to go to a port? Like, is that when all these older ships are gone? And
well, maybe we'll see a trend going the other way. Let's hope.
Right? I hope so because
I don't know.
We may be the all-inclusive Canucks.
No. Oh, no. Don't say that.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. There's still a space for small ships, and I hope that the main lines don't abandon them. Otherwise, the only way you get on a small ship is to go on a luxury line. That's a little more money.
That sort of you're not everybody can get into that vacation market, right? It's too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a few comments coming in about that. We should maybe jump and say hi to a few comments here.
Right.
Kate definitely agrees on the smaller ships. And Harlem is saying that, yes, ports are starting to restrict the number of ships and the size of the ships that can go there. And it's funny because when I first heard about this, the first thing I ever caught my path with this was Key West.
Oh, yes.
Key West started making noise years ago about how they didn't want so many people. And my initial reaction was like, well, I can't understand that, why they don't want all those people there spending all their money. Like, why wouldn't they want the cruise ships? That was my perspective.
Right.
Now that I've traveled a little more around the world and see some of these ports and some of these ships coming out and what it looks like in the ports, I get it. I really do get it. I see why Key West was getting upset.
Yeah. It's funny, the last time, I guess maybe the last time that we were in Key West was just after the cruise pause. We were one of the first cruises back there post-COVID.
We were the first, yeah.
We were the first.
Yeah.
And I put a post on Instagram. I think we were on the new Stondom, am I right? Yes. And I put a post on Instagram that here we were, and I got some hate comments on it from people that were living in Key West saying, get back on your ship and leave. We don't want you guys here. So that was a little shocking. But yeah, we see their side of the story too, right?
Yeah. And me and my manly man, they were waiting for a Titanic replica. I'm with you. Poland Day was kind of like that, just let you know. And Kat is saying she's not interested in cruise ships over 3,600 people. It's funny because that Cruise Plum site that we mentioned earlier on in the broadcast has an option that you can filter by size of ship. So a lot of times I'll go in there and I'll choose just the medium and small ships. I don't even want to see the large ship itineraries. So you can filter by size of ships. I think more and more people are feeling that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see a comment you would like me to jump to?
No, you're doing well. You're having better luck than me.
Sherry says that new ships coming out are just too big. Harlan prefers the smaller ships. And first cruise was Carnival Triumph. At that time, it was the largest cruise ship in the world. It could hold 1,248 passengers.
Wow.
So there you go. I always laugh because when we get an older ship, I always go back and look at its history. I'm always kind of chuckling when I see that, oh, yeah, one time this was the largest ship in the world. And it's like, wow, it's hard to imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sherry is saying that she saw someone in a port the other day and it had 22,000 people. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like Costa Maya feels like that every time it's like that now.
Yeah, I think that's where we found it the most congested. It's such a tiny little area, and they put in so many big, huge ships there on a regular day.
Marie is saying hi from Hawaii. She says we should try traveling on the Oosterdam. She's an elegant grand dame and loved the Mediterranean cruise last year. So yeah, nice. We're definitely gonna. We weren't sure we'd think of the older, smaller Holland America ships because Volendam was our first. Now we want to go back and try them all. It's kind of how I feel.
Right. Yeah.
And let's see here. We got any more comments that popped up since? Smaller ships. I don't think we have many people on here saying, no, I just want the big ships. Another thing that Kat does, always checks the ports to see how many ships are there. And I've kind of started
before you book the cruise.
Yeah, we've started to do that too. I look and say, okay, where's the ship going? And then if I see a couple of popular ports, I'm like, who else is going to be there? Because if there's a couple big of the sea ships there, a lot of times I'm like, no, I'll take another itinerary that doesn't have as much busyness.
Especially if it's a port that you want to get off because you haven't been before, or you want to do something specific. We have strategically decided to stay on the ship and make a port day a sea day for us because we got to port and we saw that there were two giant mega ships plus two other regular ships there or something like that. So we've avoided the crowds that way. And that's okay if it's somewhere that you've gone to, but it's not so great if it's your first time being there and you want to get off and explore, right?
For sure. Another thing I wanted to bring up, I thought was a really interesting story. I think I saw it on one of the sites, Cruise Hive or something, that they were talking about how John Heald, who is the brand ambassador for Carnival. So we're usually not much on our Carnival news these days because we haven't been cruising them much. But this one caught my attention because there was a post that was made by a passenger saying that they can smoke on their balcony and they give their room attendant money as a tip that'll bring an ashtray even. So that way, implying that the crew knows that he's smoking on the balcony and didn't think it was a problem. Carnival lashed out pretty fast. John even jumped on board saying that there's no way that they would risk their job to get a small tip to be able to get an ashtray.
Right.
That was ridiculous, and I kind of tend to agree with him. But to clarify that, then Carnival came out and said, listen, if you are caught smoking, you will get a $500 fine, and you will also be put on the no cruise list.
Cruise list.
So you don't want to cruise ever again. Go smoke on your balcony, because there's a way that could happen to you. No, it didn't say. It said in some cases it can be on the list. I'm not sure how they determined that. But,
oh, well.
And it also did. Carnival went out of their way to also say, here's a number that you can call while you're on the ship. If you're on your balcony and smell someone else smoking, call this, because we are going to investigate and find that person.
Wow.
They're encouraging people, and then they went on to reference that there's been cruise ships in the last 20 years that have had major fires on board because of people smoking on the balcony.
Wow.
So yeah, it was kind of a really interesting one, because we've dealt with that. One of the reasons that we hesitate to book balconies sometimes now is like, you know what, we never get to enjoy them because we go out there and all we can smell is cigarette smoke from other passengers. So it's not one or two people on a cruise ship doing it. This is a widespread problem.
I think it's been less the last few years, but definitely when they first started bringing in the restrictions that you weren't allowed to smoke on balconies, a lot of people were breaking those rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really interesting one that came out that kind of caught my attention as well. And we're getting long in time, so maybe one more.
Okay.
How about Norwegian Steakhouse?
Okay.
Or Margaritaville at Sea? Which would you rather talk about?
I have no idea what he's referring to for either one, guys. So
Cagney's is the steakhouse on Norwegian. We have tried it several times, but this week a new menu was released by Norwegian. And what they did is it used to be a 4-course meal where you could choose from like a soup kind of appetizer list, and then there was a second appetizer list that had more like salads and things like that. And then you had your main, and then you had your dessert.
Okay.
They reduced a lot of items off the menu, and they reduced the appetizer to just one appetizer. So now it's a 3-course meal instead of 4. And they reduced the menu, I think, by 20% is what it looked like. They took a lot of stuff off there that used to be on there. And to my chagrin, there's still nothing on there I could eat there, because I don't like steaks and I don't like seafood. And I know people say that's why you go to a steakhouse, but other steakhouses and other cruise lines have options for people that aren't big meat eaters.
Yeah, we just had a steak specialty dinner restaurant on the Volendam, and you had 4 or 5 options of stuff that weren't
just straight out steak.
So like they had chicken and pork chops and a few other different things.
I think they had
there.
Salmon or halibut or like different options, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So Cagney's has reduced the menu in size, and then I'm certain I didn't see any mention of price, and I'm sure they didn't reduce the price. I'm sure. So that's So Norwegian's kind of scaling down some of the Cagney's options. Now some of the spin on it was like, these are less popular options anyways, but in the articles I was looking at, there's a lot of people kind of complaining that some of their favorites were taken away. So I guess that's always the case, but so that's kind of interesting, because we had a family member recently on Norwegian. They were commenting about how they felt some of the menu items were very restrictive compared to what they used to be when they were on Norwegian. We haven't had that experience since we were on the Norwegian Epic, because we haven't sailed Norwegian, but we've been talking about getting back on them. We're kind of curious how that looks now.
Yeah.
So
a lot of them have been making cuts and changes, but I will say, I guess maybe speaking on this whole steakhouse specialty dining, we were on at the steakhouse last year on Holland America on, I'm trying to think of the name of the ship that we were on when we did it. It was New Amsterdam. So it was a year ago, March. We were at the Pinnacle Grill, and I went to order 2 appetizers, and he told me there'd be a surcharge to order a second appetizer. Whereas this time we went just last week or a couple of weeks ago, and I went to order 2 appetizers, and there was no surcharge. So I don't know if people complained about that and they took that feedback off, or what went on there, but it seemed to be a change in the right direction for passengers, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Holland America, kind of surprises. I'm thinking maybe they watched our video.
Yeah, sure, that's what it was.
Do we have that much control?
No, none.
Very unlikely.
Yeah.
And Sherry's saying that she's noticed, Norwegian thinks is doing a lot of cost cutting. So and Heather just got off Grandeur of the Seas and loved it and became their new favorite. Beautiful, quaint, excellent service, entertainment board.
See, and it's a smaller ship, right? You get that more quaint, personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been thinking about doing a Royal Caribbean. I keep looking at the smaller ships. Mrs. Canuck keeps saying, "Well, let's go to Perfect K on a bigger one," and I'm like,
that is so much malarkey. He is telling you guys. Yeah, as if he's the one that wanted to try to get me on Wonder of the Seas, and I said, "You go without me. Have a good time, standing in lines for the whole week."
Yeah, and comment here from Harlan saying smoking on a cruise ship is a fire hazard, which is why the rules in place. MSC can't enforce their own smoking policy Yeah, they're making for the ship's fire hazards. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they'll start now. MSC is their president of their company is now stepping down in the next year, and someone's replacing.
All right.
So maybe there'll be some change. Although in saying that, the person that's replacing is someone that was already there in the past, working under the current president.
Oh, okay.
And both the current president and the one that's stepping in have a history of working with Carnival and Costa. So that's kind of interesting to me too.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of the background of people that are taking over MSC. So I'm not sure if that'll change things in MSC much or not, from what I heard.
Oh.
And don't forget to subscribe. Christine's saying she's doing her job. She's applying.
Helping us out.
She's applying for the PR job.
There you go. We need that.
And family cruise booked for March. I think this is maybe Anna must be booked on a Norwegian, as I'm guessing that she's saying. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, let us know. We'll be curious to see if there's anything different elsewhere on the ship as far as menu items. Because last time we were on the Norwegian Epic, we thought it was one of the best main dining room menus we've ever seen on a cruise ship.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And like during the shutdown, NCL announced that they were upgrading their menus, and they had hired some new chefs to sort of recreate their dining experience to make it a more elevated experience. And we definitely saw the results of that when we were there. But now we're hearing from everybody a year or so later that it seems to be going the other way again, which is unfortunate to hear for sure.
And Terry is saying on the Norwegian Gem in March and loved it. Perfect size, good food, and wonderful staff. So again, that's one of the smaller ones. So maybe that's the secret, is the smaller ship concept.
Yeah,
Maybe we're
that's
on to
true.
something. Maybe
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? We're 20 minutes over. Do you want to do any more? You think we gotta
No, I think we're pretty good.
let people get to the golf game?
Somebody's itching to go turn on his television set, guys.
So I guess that's it for today. Thanks everybody for all the comments and watching us. And next week we're going to have a specific topic. We just don't know what that is yet.
Oh. Give us suggestions. Maybe it'll be something else that Mr. Canuck is very uncomfortable about. Didn't want to talk about men's fashion, so maybe we'll find something that piques his interest.
Yes, and no, girls' fashion is another option to tell us.
That's not another option. You don't want that either.
Although we do have an expert here, but yeah, you'll see me watching the golf game in the background next week if you do that, which might be fine.
Might be fine.
The AI wanted to mute you out, so maybe that's a way just to get you only.
There you go.
So anyways, thanks everybody, and thanks for watching the vlogs and all the wonderful comments that have made our week.
Yes.
And we are going to roll into this week for a few more of the vlogs, so keep watching that stuff as well.
For sure.
And I think that's our story.
Have a good week. And if you live around us, hope you stay cool through our hot spell. It's supposed to be coming up.
It's going to be a hot one. So have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you next Sunday afternoon again.
Bye for now.